Good afternoon, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll get started here with Jeff McLean and then John Clark.
Shane Jalen had told us after the game that on that 3rd and 14th play, he couldn't hear you. Can you give us, from your perspective, what happened and how he handled it?
Sometimes the headsets, sometimes they go in and out every once in a while. Got it in a little bit to him. It was a little fuzzy there, but he knew the situation. That was from the game plan, the preparation part of it. That 3rd and long, that was the call. He got to the exact call we wanted, and then he scrambled and made that huge play to Greg Ward. So it was awesome by him.
So it was the call that you called in. He just happened to know what you would want in that situation.
Yeah, that was our 3rd and long call right there in that situation. He got it wired up. It was awesome by him.
Go ahead, John, and then Chris Murray.
Shane, how much have you guys worked on the scrambling drills for those plays to happen?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We put a couple into each practice. That was a big focus on us early in the year. We thought we could have got more chunk plays off the scramble. So each week in practice, we try to get a couple of those every week, and it's starting to pay off. So it's been good.
Chris and then Bo.
Yeah, Shane, how much has Jalen Hurts grown in the passing game? Especially since that 2-5 start where he kind of struggled a little bit. It seemed like he's doing a little bit better job of keeping his eyes downfield when things get a little unorganized in the pocket and things of that nature.
You know what? He's been awesome. He's been tremendous. Just the growth you've seen from him week in and week out. I mean, it was big to see even this week. We had some chunk plays down the field, and he's able to check it down to Boston. We had the big check down to Boston. He went down the sidelines for about 15 or 20. I mean, those are huge chunk plays. When you can check it down to the back and you don't have it there, that's great. And he's also able to use his feet, as we know. But when you can get it to the back as well and you don't have to run and take those big hits, I mean, those are big plays. So it's been really good to see.
Go ahead, Bo, and then Dave.
Hey, Shane, just to go back to that play when there was the miscommunication, or I guess the no communication, was that like a malfunction of the headset, or was it just because the operation itself was just a bit behind schedule?
Yeah, no, we were just trying to get it in. I don't think he heard it completely, and then he knew exactly what we had to get to in that situation.
And is that something that happens like very rarely, just sort of often?
Yeah, no, it's rare that happens, but every once in a while in every game, you just got to be ready to adjust. So, like we said, when we go through our preparation week in and week out, we know those calls that we want in that situation. That's due to his preparation. He knew the call that we wanted there.
Thank you.
Dave and then Mike.
Hey Shane, getting back to those scramble drills, when you would go through a film study with Jalen and maybe point out some plays where you thought there were opportunities early in the year, how receptive was he to some of that criticism?
He's great. He wants to be coached hard. He wants to know the why on everything we do. He wants to have answers for everything. And so he's been great with all the coaching that we've been giving him, and it's continued to show up week in and week out, and he continues to get better. Love where he's at right now.
Go ahead, Mike, and then John.
Hey, Shane, when you have running backs who have such willingness to fall forward to pick up extra yards, how much does that weigh into your play calling when you do consider an outside run or an up-the-middle run, especially on short yardage plays?
Yeah, I think obviously you look at those situations, the different style backs we have, what they do well, if they're inside zone runners and how they hit the holes. I think you look at all those situations with all those backs. And I talked about it last week. You guys asked about Boston, and Boston continues to show up. He was tremendous on Sunday. He did exactly what we wanted him to do. He made big plays throughout the game. He had 2 touchdowns there, the 2 fourth and goals. He hit it good on the inside zone one, and then we hit it on the outside one. So he had a hell of a game.
John and then Zach.
Hey, Shane, to kind of follow up on that, especially the 4th downs when – you don't have success early. The first 4th and 2 doesn't work, and you still have confidence to do it down at the goal line with a player like Boston, who's been really effective, but he's a backup player. What is that a philosophy going into the game? Is that a feel in the game with you and Nick? How does that come?
Yeah, no question. I think those things are talked about throughout the week. I know we always talk about that. Hey, in this situation, we get down in there. We're probably going to go for these in this situation. Those are talked about throughout the week. Obviously, we didn't get that 4th and 2 early on that first drive, which obviously we'd like to convert there. But we get down in there and we're tight. We're on the 1 or 2 yard line. We have faith and trust in our guys that we're going to go get it there, and that's what they did.
Go ahead, Zach, and then Ed.
Hey Shane, following up on that, in your fourth and goals earlier this season, I think you had 2 touchdowns called back from penalties, and then the trick play. So this was the first time you scored on them. It was the first time you called running plays. How much have you guys, I guess, learned from those plays earlier this season? And did you consider the running plays earlier this season as well, or is that the evolution of the offense?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of both. I think when you go into those situations, it's like, hey, what is the defense playing on these fourth downs? What do they play and got to have it situations? Obviously, if it's a blitz zero situation, it's going to be hard to run the football there, but they showed some zone coverage there and those looks. And that first one, we ran it into Boston. We got what we wanted, and we were able to run it in there. And then the second one, we got up the line fast, and we pitched it out wide and got around the edge. And it was a great play by everyone up front, and Boston going and getting it.
And if I can just ask a quick follow-up on the second one, when Jalen seemed to have his legs tied out from a quarterback's perspective, how difficult is it to get the pitch off in that situation?
Yeah, no, it's difficult. That just shows how athletic he is. I mean, he got a little stepped on right there, and he was able to create a perfect pitch right where Boston wanted it, like as he would if he didn't get tripped. So, heck of a play by him.
Go ahead, Ed, and then Bo.
Yeah, hi, Shane. Just to ask you about Greg Ward. I know this summer there was a lot of talk about he was kind of the leader in that wide receiver room just because of his experience. His role has been limited, but how has he been behind the scenes, and how has he helped this wide receiver room get better this year?
You know what? Greg's the ultimate pro. He's a tremendous leader still in that room, without a doubt. Those guys look up to him, and when his number is called, he's been making plays. He made that big play in the game. And so every day he comes to work as a pro. He practices hard. He knows what to do. He's reliable. We can always count on Greg, and he's been tremendous to have on this football team.
We'll take 2 more. So go ahead, Bo, and then Rube.
Hey, Shane. It seemed like you guys played a lot of multiple personnel or multiple tight end sets early in the game, especially in the first half, 13 and 12, and then a little bit more 11 in the second half. Was the goal there to sort of, like body blow the defensive line, be a little bit heavy early to open things up as the game went on, or was it? Is there something else to it?
I think as we look at the tape, 13 personnel, what kind of matchups do we have in that situation? What kind of matchups do we have in 11 personnel? And so we went into that game with a little bit of 13 personnel. We threw it out of 13. We ran it out of 13, kind of went on the ball a little bit there and got some of the things we wanted. And then we just switched it up in the second half and went a little bit 11 personnel on the ball and did some things there. So it was a little bit of blend of both, just the stuff that we saw on tape, and then we went from there.
Go ahead, Rube.
Hey, Shane, we saw Boston Scott catch 4 balls and make some plays in the receiving game yesterday. You guys haven't thrown a ton to the backs this year, but, we saw Boston have some success with it, miles here and there. What does that give you, and what does it take to make those type of plays work? And, adding that dimension to the offense, what does that kind of give you as far as being productive?
Yeah, no, it's big. I mean, anytime you can throw it to the back, the defense has got to be accountable for the back. And so obviously when you got run actions and you're trying to throw the ball down the field and you don't have it and you can able to check it down to the back and create explosive like that, that's huge too. And then also coming out of the backfield, we hit Boston on that angle route. We had a 4 vertical game going right there, and they all sunk out of there, and Jalen did a great job accelerating his vision right to the back and creating an explosive play. So obviously the backs are a big part of what we do. When we get them in the pass game going, obviously the run game's been huge, but we can get them involved in the pass game like we did. It obviously opens a lot of things up for us.
Has Jalen gotten better at kind of looking that way if his first read's not there?
Yes, he's been tremendous. His last couple of weeks, he's been accelerating his vision to the back and getting those balls getting those guys catches. So it's been really good to see. That's a great job by him.
Thanks for the time, Coach.
All right, guys, appreciate it.